Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video because what I'm about to reveal will make you see relationships and women completely differently. If you stay unaware, you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over, wondering why it never works out. Let's start with something that blindsides most men. The lies women tell without ever realizing they're doing it. Not the malicious, dramatic lies you hear in movies, but subtle, almost invisible ones that manipulate emotions and keep you guessing, unsure if you're loved or just tolerated. The truth is, women are complex creatures, and society has trained men to overvalue honesty, while women sometimes communicate in layers, hiding real intentions beneath politeness, attraction, or insecurity. If you can't see past the words, you will always misinterpret the signals, and that misunderstanding is what destroys men's confidence and sense of control. The first lie is the one you hear most often: I'm fine. Every man thinks it's harmless. Every man thinks he can ignore it. But hear me now. When a woman says, I'm fine, it almost never means fine. It's a test, a subtle way to see if you notice her discomfort, if you can read the invisible signals, if you care enough to dig deeper. Most men respond by giving space, by accepting the surface, and that's exactly what she expects. But what she actually wants is someone who can handle the unspoken, someone who reads between the lines and acts with empathy. If you ignore it, you're training her to believe you are shallow or emotionally unavailable. Then there's the lie disguised as praise. You're so sensitive. Men hear it and feel attacked. But sensitivity isn't the issue. The real message is, I'm testing your emotional boundaries. Can you handle me without losing yourself? Women observe how you react. Do you shrink? Do you argue? Or do you understand that sensitivity is part of emotional intelligence and it's your strength, not a weakness? The way you respond reveals your level of self-control, your ability to lead, and your capacity for attraction. By understanding these early lies, you begin to see a pattern, a map of female communication that most men never learn. Most men stumble blindly, believing everything at face value. But the truth is, what women say is often a mask for what they feel, what they want, or what they fear. And that, my friend, is where power shifts. Once you can recognize it, once you can interpret it correctly, you start controlling your interactions instead of being controlled. Now let's talk about a lie that almost every man falls for. I just want to be friends. When a woman says this, your instinct might be to relax, to soften, to show her that you're trustworthy. But here's the truth she rarely says out loud. I want to see if you can handle rejection while staying interested. I want to measure your value before I decide if you're worth my time. Friendship in many cases is not neutrality. It's a testing ground. Every joke she makes, every glance she gives, every subtle touch or absence of it is a signal. If you fail to interpret these signs, you're training her to see you as invisible, replaceable, and predictable. Another lie men hear constantly is, I don't care about looks. Think about how many men have spent years trying to prove themselves, trying to outsmart the system, believing that personality alone will unlock a woman's desire. Here's the brutal reality. While personality matters, attraction begins with biology. What she says often masks what she truly values: confidence, dominance, status, and emotional stability. When a woman claims looks don't matter, she's often observing your presentation, your energy, the way you carry yourself. She's seeing if you have pride, presence, and the ability to ignite desire beyond just words. Misreading this can leave you puzzled, frustrated, and undervalued, thinking your charm alone is enough, when in fact your aura is the currency she responds to. Then there's the most dangerous lie for men chasing long-term relationships. I want someone who challenges me. Men hear this and think, she wants drama, a fight, maybe conflict. But in reality, she's testing resilience and leadership. Women are drawn to men who can create stability while remaining unpredictable in controlled ways. A paradox designed to see who can handle their emotional waves without drowning. If you can't navigate this correctly, you will either scare her away by being weak or bore her by being too compliant. Understanding these lies is about developing emotional radar, about reading between words and actions. It's about recognizing the difference between surface level statements and the real subtext, which always reveals desire, fear, or intention. Men who fail here don't just lose relationships, they lose respect, attraction, and most importantly, their own confidence. Here's the secret no one tells you: women don't just lie to protect themselves, they lie to measure, to observe, to determine value. And once you start seeing the patterns clearly, once you understand the real motives behind her words, you gain a power most men never even know exists: power to attract, power to influence, power to never again be blindsided by what's unsaid. Here's a lie that cuts deeper than most men realize: I'm not like other women. Every man wants to believe he's dating someone unique, someone rare, someone immune to games. But this statement is rarely literal. It's a test of your awareness. When she says, I'm not like other women, what she's really saying is, notice my differences. See the patterns I'm testing and prove that you can handle me without failing where others have. It's a subtle invitation to observe, to analyze, and if you misread it, to fall into the trap of overvaluing her uniqueness while ignoring your own worth. Men who get lost here become addicted to validation instead of building attraction. Another lie that confuses men endlessly is, I just need space. When you hear this, the natural reaction is panic. But the truth beneath the words is rarely about actual space. It's about control. She's observing your emotional stability. Can you respect boundaries without withdrawing your value? Can you give her the illusion of freedom while maintaining magnetic presence? Space is rarely neutral. It's a challenge, a psychological experiment, and the men who fail respond with anxiety, jealousy, or overcompensation, signaling that they are easily manipulated. The men who succeed understand the hidden purpose. She's measuring patience, confidence, and the ability to make her want to return, not out of guilt, but desire. Then there's a lie wrapped in vulnerability. I'm not ready for a relationship. Men hear this and think, she's unavailable. I should walk away. But listen closely. Often this statement isn't about readiness at all. It's about testing timing, emotional investment, and whether you can maintain attraction without desperation. She's watching how you handle delay, frustration, and challenge. Can you stay composed, maintain your life, and subtly remind her of your value? Or do you crumble, beg, and confirm what she feared about men in general? Understanding this subtle test separates men who are desirable from men who are disposable. And then comes the classic, I just like hanging out. Casual words yet loaded with hidden meaning. She's assessing chemistry, your energy, your dominance, and your ability to entertain and lead without losing composure. Every laugh, every glance, every reaction you have is cataloged, evaluated, and compared against what she wants, what she fears, and what she tolerates. Misreading this is the fastest way to end up friend-zoned, ghosted, or manipulated into emotional exhaustion. Here's the reality men must face. Women rarely lie to hurt you. They lie to observe, to filter, and to measure value. Every misstep you make teaches her less about who you are and more about what she can control. The men who master this aren't just attractive. They're untouchable in confidence, influence, and desire. Let's expose another lie that's almost invisible to most men. I don't think about him like that. On the surface, it sounds harmless, even casual. But the real message is far more revealing. Women use these words to gauge your emotional response. Are you jealous, insecure, or indifferent? Every subtle reaction tells her exactly how much value you assign to yourself and your time. The truth is, she isn't concerned about him at all. She's measuring your energy, your presence, your ability to maintain attraction, even when her mind toys with hypotheticals. If you react weakly, if your confidence crumbles, you've just taught her that desire can be manipulated easily. If you respond with calm power, she starts associating you with stability, strength, and control. The invisible forces that draw her in more than any compliment ever could. Another lie that destroys men emotionally is, I'm not looking for anything serious. Think you can relax, take it easy, and wait for her to come around? Wrong. What she's really signaling is, I'm observing how you respond to temporary uncertainty. Can you remain confident, ambitious, and self-assured while I test your patience? Men often interpret this as disinterest and chase harder, but the real test is subtle. Your ability to handle ambiguity without losing self-respect. Women are drawn to men who thrive under these conditions, not men who whine, pressure, or beg. This is a filter disguised as casual language. Then there's the seemingly innocent line, I just want someone who understands me. Every man hears this and rushes to empathy, believing that listening more, caring more, or sacrificing more will win her over. But what she really means is, I want someone who knows when to lead, when to guide, and when to create safety while remaining exciting. I don't want someone who simply agrees. I want someone who commands presence, enforces boundaries, and ignites desire. Misunderstanding. This is fatal. Men who overaccommodate lose attraction. Men who balance attention with power gain it effortlessly. Even words like, I don't need anyone are layered. On one level, it's independence. On another, it's a test of your value. Can you maintain intrigue without pushing, without panicking? Can you make her feel desire for your presence rather than obligation? Men fail here constantly because they assume honesty is literal, forgetting that attraction thrives in subtle tension, not transparency. The truth is brutal but empowering. Women lie less to deceive and more to measure, to filter, to observe. Every misstep you make is cataloged, every reaction analyzed, and every moment of hesitation noted. When you understand this, when you begin interpreting words as signals rather than absolutes, you stop being manipulated and you start controlling the emotional rhythm of every interaction. That is where power, attraction, and respect are truly built. Now let's expose the lie that destroys men emotionally more than any other. I just want to have fun. Most men hear this and assume it's harmless, a casual statement about dating, spontaneity, or freedom. But listen carefully. What she's really testing is your reaction to ambiguity, your ability to remain confident under uncertainty, and your capacity to create desire without being needy. Fun is a mask for control, a filter for value. If you panic, chase, or try to define the relationship prematurely, you signal weakness. If you maintain composure, humor, and self-possession, you become magnetic. This is not about the words, it's about the energy behind them, and most men completely miss it. Then comes the lie wrapped in loyalty. I'm not interested in anyone else. The instinct is to relax, to lower your guard, to feel safe. But in truth, she's not always speaking about others. She's speaking about testing your confidence, your boundaries, and your ability to stay appealing. She wants to see if you believe in yourself enough to maintain value and presence even in the face of uncertainty. A man who doubts himself here immediately becomes less desirable. A man who holds his energy and standards gains invisible leverage. Attraction is rarely built on words. It's built on the interplay of presence, challenge, and subtle dominance. Another classic lie is, I love you, said too soon or too casually. Many men rejoice, believing this is validation, proof of affection. But psychologically, women sometimes use premature declarations of love to measure response. Can you handle intense emotions without losing control? Will you reciprocate instantly, overinvest, or do you remain steady and measured? The words are a test, a psychological experiment, and the way you respond determines how she values you in the long run. Respond too weakly, she doubts. Respond too eager, she loses attraction. Respond with balance, she begins to see you as a rare and stable force in her life. Even I just want honesty can be a trap. Men assume transparency is enough, but she's actually observing your ability to navigate delicate emotional terrain with intelligence. She wants insight, awareness, and subtle leadership, not raw confession. Honesty without emotional intelligence is meaningless. It's your interpretation and delivery that builds trust and desire simultaneously. Here's the cold truth. Women lie less to deceive you and more to measure you. Every word, every hesitation, every casual statement is part of a system, an emotional matrix designed to filter men based on confidence, awareness, and self-mastery. The men who fail become frustrated, manipulated, and undervalued. The men who master this gain respect, attraction, and unshakable influence. Understanding this is not optional. It's essential if you want to navigate female psychology without losing yourself in the process. Finally, let's reveal the lie that underpins them all. I'm being completely honest with you. Every word a woman says is filtered through her desire, fear, and strategy. The problem is, most men take these statements at face value, assuming that what is spoken equals reality. But the truth is far more complex. Women communicate in layers, testing, observing, and measuring your emotional intelligence, confidence, and composure with every phrase. If you respond blindly, you are led. If you respond wisely, you lead. This is where power, attraction, and respect converge. Let's strip it down. Every lie you've heard, every statement that confused or frustrated you, is a psychological test disguised as conversation. I'm fine checks your observation. I just want to be friends evaluates your patience and value. I'm not ready for a relationship measures emotional control. Each is designed to filter men based on their ability to maintain presence under uncertainty, to demonstrate confidence, and to act with invisible authority. Once you see the patterns, you begin to understand the hidden language of desire. Here's the secret most men never grasp. Women aren't evil for saying these things. They are wired to test, filter, and protect themselves. But the men who fall into confusion or overreaction give away their power. The men who rise above, who see words as signals rather than absolutes, become irresistible. It's not about manipulation, it's about mastery. Emotional mastery, psychological awareness, and self-assured presence are your keys. Once you develop them, you no longer chase. You attract. You no longer guess. You interpret. You no longer react. You lead. And here's the most critical truth. Desire thrives in tension, not comfort. Women want a man who is available yet unshakable, caring yet commanding, predictable in integrity, yet unpredictable in energy. When you understand the lies, you understand the tests. When you understand the tests, you understand the pathway to respect, desire, and long-term influence. You stop being played and start setting the rhythm of every interaction. So remember this, words are rarely literal. Every "I'm fine, I just want fun, and I'm not ready" is a signal, a doorway to attraction, or a trap for weakness. The choice is yours. Respond with awareness, composure, and invisible authority, and you will never again be blindsided by what's unsaid. This is the psychology women aren't telling you, the truths you were never supposed to see.